Because I'm sure people are going to be rioting because we've been absent for like 2 weeks.
'Tis a fortnight, my friend.
A week? I don't know. I'm still like my mind's blown that it's almost November 20th already, and
I know.
It's going by
dude.
so quick. I'm like, it's like a freaking vortex.
It just sucks you in.
Glad to be back. It's Monday. Snakes and
Yes.
Stogies 223, which was supposed to be last week, but ended up changing plans last minute, so didn't happen. If you came Monday to check that out, we apologize. We are here now, and my internet is already playing games, I think.
I mean, you sound and look
Not
good
yet.
to us, so.
Okay,
Yep.
I wasn't sure. Phil froze for a second, but we're fine.
Oh, no, we're rolling.
Yeah, this episode is brought to you by blackboxcages.com. Check them out, Facebook, Instagram. Use the code THN24 at checkout on blackboxcages.com. Get a little discount, and then you save even more if you choose the pickup option at checkout. You can save on shipping, take a trailer like me and Jake are going to be doing this coming weekend. Drive on up there, pick up your stuff, take it home, set it up, enjoy it for eternity. And you won't regret it. It's the best of the best.
It is. Spared no expense.
That's right.
It's actually interesting. I have two TVs. So was it a 2x2 by 18 venomous sliders that they built for me with the little key lock, which is the best locking mechanism for venomous that I've used yet, and they're brilliant for designing it. That I have not decided what I'm going to put in them, and I took out the Fields Vipers 2 days ago, whatever, just to give them a little health check, and I was like, man, they are getting good. So the question is, do I put both of them in the same enclosure, or do I use two and give them each their own enclosure? Realistically, I feel like two should have probably a 3 foot, but because they're kind of, I don't want to say solitary.
Sedentary.
I mean, they sprawl out every night, but they don't really like cruise, if that makes sense. So I don't know. I want to get your guys' opinion of it. But decisions, since we're on the black box topic.
That's right. I think that would boil down completely to personal preference. I mean, obviously, if they do a K cohab, then, why not? I guess it sort of boils down to how hectic does feeding get.
Yeah, I think I don't think it'd be a problem. I feel like maybe putting both in the same thing would probably not give them as much space, obviously, but I digress. You know what that means? Just have to buy more. Buy more black box.
That's right. I don't know. I mean, it's they don't strike me as a species that sort of would overall do better, like net positive, do better cohabbed.
Yeah.
But I also don't think it would cause any issues.
Yeah, I agree. And they're old enough to breed, but I'm going to give them at least another year because I don't know how old they are.
Mm-hmm.
But 1 year more would just be that much better. So,
right.
Yep.
But I am still waiting for a Pseudocerastes t-shirt from Fulvius Apparel.
Oh, who's that?
Tell us, Smitty.
Oh, I don't know. Just make some shirts. I'm wearing Fulvius, a shirt and a hat. Sanchez is wearing a Fulvius shirt. Phil is wearing a Fulvius shirt and a hat. Black Friday sale is going on right now still until November 30th. Buy two, get one free, site-wide. Or if you don't need that much stuff and you're just buying for yourself, maybe buy one, get one half off.
If people partake in that Black Friday sale, do they happen to get a Fulvius Apparel koozie as well?
I don't have any more koozies. I need to make some. I need to get some more done. But
on a koozie, you got to go to Daytona.
That's it.
That is kind of the thing. Is like that was the. I don't even think I have one of those anymore. I don't know. I've got one floating around somewhere. But I mean, with this Black Friday sale throughout the month of November, I cannot confirm or deny that some orders may have like a bookmark slipped in. Some other odds and ends might just show up. I don't know. I don't have control over these things. So check that out. It's going on, like I said, now until the 30th. And then I will likely run something as we go into December as well. I just haven't decided what. I'm just, making sure the sale and stuff, like deals are available with the holiday season and everything. Like I don't really do this whole Cyber Monday thing. I don't really do the whole Shop Small Saturday thing. Like I just run a sale and it's that time of year. Like I don't have enough stuff to warrant a sale for each different pseudo holiday of around Black Friday with that whole like nebulous. So it's available. It's there. Use the code THN at checkout. Otherwise, if you're listening to this and we're long past the holidays, we're into back to the usual annual grind. Use the code THN at checkout and you get 15% off your order. That's year round. That's not a limited time only thing. But you can then hop over to coldbloodedcaffeine.com. Find the Snakes and Stogies blend. Now that I have my camera all set up close and stuff, I can very easily show off
a little too close.
The pageantry of the bag. That ring light really puts a glare on that bad boy.
Bet it does.
Mexican and Rwandan coffee coming together in one bag. That is the Snakes and Stogies blend. That blend and many, many, many others that you will not regret buying. coldbloodedcaffeine.com. Use the code SMOKE. Gets, I think, 10% off your order. Me and Phil get a little something. You get a little something off and you get some delicious coffee. Everybody wins.
Indeed.
Tyson said he was planning to show up at 5 a.m. Friday to shop for shirts.
Nice.
Hunter wants to know if there's any news on the Snakes and Stogies cigars.
No, that's the problem when you're working with friends. Things get backburnered. Things take longer than expected. So, I after Daytona, I really didn't reach out to kind of see what the progress was because they're got all the time in the world now. But I'm probably gonna check back with my guy before the holidays really kick in because I know they get pretty busy. And hopefully I'll try and get something put together for the new year. That way we can do some raffles and some giveaway stuff and kind of go from there. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, I need to get Trey in touch with him about the Low Country Cigar Club thing too for one of those months.
For sure.
We did the Marine Corps ball, so they have Marine Corps balls regularly. There was one up in Myrtle. Yeah. Oh my God. There's no way to word that without it sounding like that. Sanchez, shut up.
Just go with it, Smitty. Just go with it.
There's multiple. Oh my God. I was gonna say there's multiple balls, but that doesn't help either. Good Lord.
Galas. Marine Corps galas.
Marine Corps galas. And Trey and I set up. There was one in Myrtle Beach over the weekend, so Trey and I met up there Saturday, set up a table and stuff, sold some cigars, did really well, and then came back yesterday. So, I mean, Low Country Cigar Club, if you go and check that out and sign up, cool stuff each month, awesome cigars, personally curated and handpicked by myself and Trey, and other cool stuff that gets added in from local businesses in our area. I might have to talk to him about setting up a promo code or something just for Snakes and Stogies too. Yeah, Jason Keller is in bed right now.
Looks like he's fantasizing about Jack Oliver.
Because Jack Oliver said, Keller, I thought it was past your bedtime because we can never get Keller to come on because he wants to start at like 7 o'clock or 5 o'clock. But he can watch. He can watch us. He just can't join us.
From the comfort of his corner. Yes. Like a professional.
Watching, never participating. What are you smoking this week?
Well, this week I said, you know what? Let's tis the season, and we went Perdomo 30th anniversary.
Oh, that's the sun-grown.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I haven't had that one in a minute.
Yeah. So I went to a shop I don't normally go to, and I was looking around. I said, man, what have I not had in a long time? I haven't had a Perdomo in, can't remember. And that appealed to me. So there we go.
I smoke the Maduro 30th fairly regularly, and then that 30th Connecticut's really good. There's something about Perdomo Sungrowns outside of the Habano stuff that they do, that Habano line that's got a Sungrown, a Maduro, and a Connecticut. Everything outside of that, as far as their Sungrown wrappers, just, it hasn't done a whole lot for me. But I don't know. I need to revisit that one. I need to smoke it again because it's been a while.
Yeah.
And your palate changes over time. We talk about that fairly regularly. It evolves. You'll smoke something and you won't like it, but then you'll maybe come back to it 2 years from then, and you're like, this is a lot better than I remember it being.
Yeah. Well, I feel like down by me, there's probably 3 or 4 brands that are in every shop. Davidoff, because you have to have everything that they ever made. Perdomo, Padron, most of those big ones are in every shop, and I kind of steer away from them just because I don't know. I feel like I get the mom and pop vibe. You know what I mean? I want that vibe. Yeah. So, but this one, I was like, you know what? I haven't had a 30th, so why not?
So Perdomo has positioned themselves sort of ideally in cigars as far as like the quality and the price point, sort of hitting that equilibrium price that you would get. You know, in economics, there's an equilibrium price where the price is right, the quality's good, so that's what people are going to gravitate towards, and they have something that pretty much appeals to everyone to some degree. I mean, minus like flavored and infused stuff, but they have, you know, the lighter Connecticut's are really good. The Sungrown stuff's pretty solid. The Maduros are usually really good depending on the line. Like they've got a lot of their portfolio is big, but it's not too big. There's just enough stuff in it to sort of cover a lot of the bases, and then the price point across the board is really solid. I don't think they have a cigar that's above like $17. They have some estate. So what's the name of that line? It's like a state grown or something. They were a little more expensive, and they were good. I don't think they were any better than the 30ths, honestly, but yeah, I mean, Perdomo makes really good stuff. That's pretty much all my dad smokes is Lot 23s. That's his go-to, and it has been for years. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about him buying them by the box.
I try to introduce him to newer stuff and have him broaden his horizon.
Yeah, man.
He just,
you know, when you set
23s.
Yeah, when you've been smoking the same thing for a long time, and it's your vibe and it's your go-to, you know. Yeah. So what about you?
So I walked into the shop the other day. The focus on this is usually pretty good, but it's an Aging Room Nicaragua Sonata.
Oh, cool. Nice band.
I mean, son of a bitch.
It's too bright. The new camera's just too bright. There it is. There it is. Oh, yeah. There it went. What's the yellow say? Sonata?
Yeah, Nicaragua Sonata. It's like a 6x60. It's a bigger gauge, but saw them sitting on the shelf, and I was like, oh, I want to say I had it at one point a while ago. So I was like, I haven't had one yet. I'll save it for Monday. And so here we are. And
excellent.
So far, it is extremely mid. The regular orange banded Nicaragua is very good. Yeah.
You were like up, mid. And Mr. Sanchez, our guest this evening, what adult vice are you partaking in?
Well, I finished my last Swisher Sweet Sunday, so now it's just a bit of the high life.
Oh, God
Champagne
bless.
A beer.
God bless.
Champagne, baby.
Jack Oliver asked, do you use snake oil in your beard? It looks magical.
I do, but Keller makes it, so it doesn't smell great, but you know,
got a little bit of a chlorine.
I think it's
smell.
Just dough and estrus that he just gave to me with a sticker on it. I'm pretty sure it's what it is.
Nice.
Phil, do you get that when you have yours grown out? Because I have people all the time. Like mine's trimmed because we had that event Saturday, so I wanted to not look like a hobo. because I had to dress in
Okay.
a suit and everything. I wore my suit for my wedding.
Nice.
So I trimmed it, but then like normally I let it do whatever it does. Like I don't do anything to it. I don't do oils. I wash it with bar soap in the shower every night. Like I do nothing to it. And people, and you know, when I worked in the cigar shop, they'd always be like, "What do you do to make your beard look like that?" And I'm like, "Nothing, dude. Like it's a beard. It's not a fucking horse. You don't have to brush it and hit it with mane and tail and like do all this stuff. Good genes. I don't know. I'm lucky.
You should tell me I have the mitt from as seen on TV for combing the dog.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, but I don't do anything for my beard. I comb it in the morning because when I wake up, it's just a frizzled mess. But other than that, I just use the same shampoo I use on my head. So, yep, no oils.
I use bar
hate
soap for shampoo and beard wash too.
Well, you're an animal.
Every now and then I'll get the beard dandruff, the beard druff every once in a while, and I'll just splat some Head and Shoulders in that thing, and it worked great.
Yeah, I've been lucky. I don't get any of that, but it I definitely have to. I have to wash it. I just feel like you just get all the food particles and the particulates as they will, you know. And so you gotta. I will say this though, I raccoon more in my older age because of the facial hair. I feel like when I was younger, I was a little more messy with my eating, but now it's like I wipe a napkin after every bite. And maybe it's just my OCD, or as
I thought you just keep a bowl of water next to your plate.
Oh yeah, just
food in that bitch, just dunking that. In
yeah, yes. No, not quite. I should try it. I should.
How it's so luscious.
Say that one more time. You broke up.
So us folks with low T don't understand how it's so luscious.
I know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to tell you. Skylar Williams is in the chat. He knows what we're talking about.
How do you have a no-fly list?
What?
Marco.
There's maybe Polo. Dun dun dun.
Smitty froze.
Marco.
Polo.
Marco.
Polo. Oh yeah, he's out.
Damn. Struggling. Help.
He got a little fuzzy too on the camera. Oh man, that's South Carolina internet just kicking his ass.
Marco.
Polo. It's just gonna be 2 hours of this.
Yes, it's it.
Yeah.
I feel like he's back.
I'm gonna go restart my internet. Please carry on.
Oh, we will.
If you can hear me, it's too late for me. Save yourselves.
Game over, man.
They have me in the cupboard of baby oil. Help.
Anyone listening, you just fast forward, press the 30-second bar on your phone, button on your phone, and yeah. So, Chris, man, what's up? What's new? What's going on?
Man,
you got ghosts behind you?
I don't know what the hell that was. Probably. That's fine. It's fine. Poltergeists happen. It's all good.
Yeah.
As
long as you embrace them, they're cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hell no.
Uh-oh. Is he back?
I think he just heard the P word and got all weirded out.
Yep. Not much new. I haven't picked. Well, that's a lie. I picked up a Holbrook Eye from Doc Brown.
Excellent.
And right about that same time, I got another Andean milk from. I actually got two more. I got one. I think I got two females. I'm pretty sure it's two females. And one from Dave Dean, Temporalis Enterprises, and one from, oh God, I can't remember the dude's name, but it's Louisiana Milk Dude on, I want to say his name's Adam. If you're watching this, homie, my bad. I can't remember your name. But it's same bloodline. It's the Cave of the Oil Birds, Julia, Colombia locale. Is the same locality, same parents, same bloodline, just two different dudes that were working with the same stuff.
Excellent.
So got those. And that was the only stuff I got after Daytona. And everything's doing good. The only exception was I did pick up one of the Daytona pickups was a brand new hatchling pair of Holbrook Eye that didn't make it. Yeah, I mean, it was one of those do as I say, not as I do things. It was very much an impulse thing.
Sure.
That was the first hat. Like I've been looking at just the species for a while and just walked across a rando table and saw them right there. I was like, oh shit, yep. But like I didn't realize how tiny they are. Like and Lord knows, I don't know, I still have a lot to learn, but I've done enough where I was like, okay, I'll figure it out. Got plenty of homies that keep weird montane stuff and stuff that needs, some working with. And Doc Brown gave me some tips. A couple of y'all helped me out. They just weren't in the running. So
I feel like Holbrooks and honestly Mexican blacks, they suffer from being a smaller king, and I feel like a lot of people breed adults smaller than they probably should, and then they get really, really tiny babies, and it just doesn't always pan out.
Man, and that's crazy because I mean with that, because the male I have from Doc Brown, he's a stout snake. Like he's a sizable animal. So it makes no sense why those babies are born as small as they are.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like a lot of, especially if it was rando table, someone maybe maybe it was their first time. Maybe someone gave them those adults and they were just small and they said, "Oh, screw it, let's put them together." But yeah, I feel like I've never kept Holbrooks personally. I love them. I think they're absolutely gorgeous. But I see a lot of people just have smaller adults and then they pair them, and like mom has babies and they're beautiful because they're Lampros and they come out great. They're just cocktail straws,
Well, and that was, and I felt bad because like I'm throwing every trick I had in my book at them and it just wasn't working. And it was I was listening to the Getchell episode of King Snake Chronicles, and for a second the Holbrook got mentioned, and Doc Laughlin was like, "Yeah, them damn Holbrooks that are way too small to even eat pinky heads. Those are a whole different monster."
Yeah,
and like, man, if these dudes are saying that, like, okay, I feel bad, but like I don't feel as bad if the season vets at keeping struggle, then I don't feel as amateurish.
No, I totally feel you, man. I totally feel you. You're not a rookie, and at the same time, you gave it your all, and sometimes it just doesn't pan out the way we want it to. We've all had it happen to us. So,
oh yeah, well, like I would love to, and I'm sure I'll end up getting a female and throwing them together, but I'm okay with just having stuff that eats, and I don't have to worry about that shit right now.
For sure.
Everything I've gotten since has eaten, which actually those two are my first failures in quite a long time. So it was kind of a much needed gut check. It got me scrolling through like Google Scholar, Sci-Hub, and making the rounds through the websites and going through the old King Snake forums and trying to, it got me kind of going through the old information, which is also why like the old books are good stuff too.
Yeah,
certain ones, but when dudes were doing that stuff 50 years ago, and they at least wrote it down somewhat. I mean, Devogely has a bunch of books from back in the day. And if I'm not, I may or may not, depends on how many champagnes I have. But dude, the fact that no one reads or gets books anymore is a real sore spot
Yeah.
for me. Um, the the one phrase that I've come to absolutely loathe on any group, forum, page, whatever it is any tips or tricks with these guys. We all know, look, you're not fooling anybody. Tips or tricks means you impulse bought that shit.
Yep.
And now you used Google and you clicked on the first page that was sponsored. So it's probably just the Petco pamphlet, information on there. And now you're looking for confirmation bias. And when dudes that have been breeding that stuff for 30 years tell you, hey, you don't need that light, give it a lot of substrate. If it's happy, you'll never see it ever again.
Yeah.
Then,
for sure.
But because he doesn't tell you that, he told you, hey, get rid of the dollhouse furniture, and that hurt your feelings. Sorry.
Yeah.
My rhinos like it.
But no, the old books, man, the technology has definitely changed, obviously, lighting, heating, all that stuff. I got it. That stuff changes. I'm cool with that. But techniques, husbandry, to a degree, it changes a bit as we get more information, especially as, more places have become connected with the internet. And we understand that the temperature that we were told to keep boas and pythons at, the old 90-degree, 95-degree hot spot back in the day, yeah, it was, sure, it was 95 degrees in Ghana, but that was on the airstrip. That was in the airport.
Right.
That wasn't in the field in a, a hole somewhere or in a mound or whatever it was. And now we kind of understand that. So husbandry has changed a bit. However, the overall meat and potatoes of keeping, the guys had it pretty well figured out. When you look at oh my God, who was Ditmars?
Oh yeah.
Dude was keeping snakes
Right.
in New York. It gets cold there. Like they were struggling. They were keeping tropical stuff, a lot of crazy stuff, and they had a pretty decent idea of how to go about it, and they didn't have anywhere near the amount of new stuff, cool enclosures, technology, lighting that we have now.
And he was keeping that stuff in an apartment in 1910 with no central heating.
Yep.
However many stories up, like that's wild, man. So I hear what you're saying, brother. I do. And
yeah, I can understand the frustration with that. It's like we're currently in a point in time where it has never been easier to keep stuff and keep it alive and do well with it. And it's like, it's also the most incredible time for extreme laziness and short attention spans where we need to be spoon-fed tiny bits of information in less than 90 seconds.
Yeah, and
interest.
It's forget what my coworker calls it, but and people are gonna get mad when I say it. The Gen Z has a real problem with this. It's not. I always call it detective work, but it's a skill. It's a inherent skill set. And now I can't remember what the hell it's called. Basically, problem-solving skills. You know what I mean? And
executive function.
Critical thinking.
Critical thinking. Thank you. Critical thinking skills. And so many people now, because the world is at your fingertips, literally on a 6x3 screen, the critical thinking skills go out the window. So, and just to touch back on de Vaugelet's books, I remember being younger and seeing all these books about pet reptiles that were they're not pamphlets, they're legitimate books, but they were like the books that they sold at Petco on a little wire rack. And I was always kind of like, what is this crap? Well, hindsight, they're all written by de Vaugelet, and you can still buy all of them on Amazon. So
Yep.
even if the temps might be old school, or the heat rock might be old school, and it's in that book, it's still written by de Vaugelet. So like, A, get it and read it because it's from him, and B, get it and read it because there's a ton of great crap in there, and they're cheap on Amazon because they're still in print.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
I don't know. I look at it like a puzzle, man. Like I want to figure it out, and I don't want to help. I just want to, I don't want to have to just go and ask and get the answers right away. And be
right,
like,
and there's
like I want to. It's like a Rubik's cube to me. It's like I want to sit and tinker and figure it out and learn and dig.
But at the same time,
as possible.
Yeah, but at the same time, all three of us have no problem asking someone who's more experienced at it or has done it before, asking them for their opinion and their advice after we've gone through the resources that we've found. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, that is sort of almost part of that puzzle is like, okay, well, I have a very specific thing about Chance and I, or rhinos or chondros or whatever, that I have read. I've looked in the books, can't find anything. Maybe you found an old forum post somewhere and you kind of touched on it very briefly, but like you need a little more context and information. Like that is part of figuring that out, is going to someone. It's like, okay, well, who do I know that I've talked to that sounded like maybe they've had experience with X, Y, and Z, and then, getting that piece and putting that into the puzzle and getting one step further to something that can never really be completed if you're
for sure.
Like, you're never going to completely solve the puzzle. It's all a work in progress.
I don't want people listening to this to take it that we're saying don't ever ask for help. Like, you'll never know if you don't ask. But at the same time, don't just assume that because you impulse bought a speckled king at a show, no offense, that someone's just gonna spoon feed you how to keep the thing alive for 20 years. So
and it was absolutely an impulse buy. But that being said, chances are anybody that's going to watch this is probably pretty well versed in a good bit of what they keep.
Sure.
The exception being Doc Wyman, who ends up importing a bunch of crazy shit that no one's ever heard of, and he goes he goes dark, and then out of nowhere next year he goes, oh hey, I hauled all these weird kukri snakes and all this other kind of weird shit.
Yeah.
Like with like I said, the Holbrook eye. I've kept cow kings, getulas, a lot of the stuff, but way overlapping
of course
of care.
And please don't think that was insulting to you, brother. No, I was.
Oh no, I'm definitely heartbroken. No, I'm never coming back. This is not happening.
It was the first snake that popped in my head. I'm
ruined.
I know, yeah.
No. Well, because I tell folks, hey, look, I know Christmas time is, we're coming up on the season. People are buying animals for Christmas gifts. Mom, dad, aunt, uncle, your heart's in the right place. However, do that due diligence, get instead of getting the snake for Christmas, get Johnny or June, a couple books on whatever it is. And then if come Valentine's Day, if there's,
you have like credits you can buy, like gift certificates you can buy, and so it's like when you're ready, you now have this and you can buy them. The thing.
Yep. Buy them a couple books on whatever it is, leopard geckos, corn snakes, whatever it is that they're looking at, and then come Valentine's Day, if they're still showing that interest, go ahead, by all means. But everyone wants that thing right now until they get it and they go, ah, shit. Well, now I need a enclosure, and that's when you start asking any tips or tricks, because
what do you mean I got to take care of it?
Oh yeah, I tell you, I remember being a kid, and Underground Reptiles always has care package setups, right? Mm-hmm. And the complete setup. And when you buy the complete setup, let's say it's for a bearded dragon, you get and they tell you, hey, this 20 long has everything you'll need minus disposables to keep this bearded dragon happy and healthy for a year and a half. All right. You get a discount on the animal. You get a health, guarantee, like, hey, if something's wrong in 90 days, whatever, bring it back. We'll help you out. And I remember buying those kits as a kid, and then I remember when I worked for them setting up those kits. And aside from it having the lamps with the bulbs and the rock and the bag of sand and the fake cactus and the water bowl, it also had either a TFH book or one of the Devogele books. And like that's better than any care sheet at all. You know what I mean? Especially if the kid's young and maybe they're not old enough to dedicate that kind of reading, or they can't read that well at that point. But that's something that mom and dad can read to them, and it can be a family thing. And I think that's really good. And anybody who wants to say buy the bearded dragon for the kids' Christmas gift, rock and roll, but do it that way. Don't just get a lizard and deli cup and then have to figure out the rest.
Yeah. 100%. Well, and that's where I'm kind of hot and cold on how much things have increased in price, especially animals. I mean, I understand lighting and all that stuff gets crazy.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But, I mourn the day that, $25 cow kings are no longer a thing. $10 emperor scorpions are no longer going to be a thing anymore. That being said, it's less of an impulse purchase now than it was in the day of, $5 green iguanas, in a basket, or something like that. So I do applaud that and do appreciate that side of things currently. I still miss, and man, the whole, if I knew then what I knew now, dude, I remember going to Delta Dash and getting the wooden crates of emperor scorpion. Well, it was probably half and half emperors and half red claws. It just depends on which one stung you first.
Yep.
Man, that stuff has gotten. Back in my day, all that shit was. Oh man, I reminisce about that now.
Well, that's a good segue, because I feel like most of the people in the group chat know you and love you. We haven't done like the proper intro for Chris. So like let's hear about where you came from, how you got here, how you grew that beard.
When'd you lose your virginity? How was it?
It was 38 years old.
It was that Daytona? I don't remember his name. I think it was Keller. It could have been Rosa, but I don't know. I was macro dosing a lot of alcohol, so it was crazy.
Keller handed me some weird IPA that I couldn't pronounce and never heard of, and it tasted a little funny, and I don't remember the rest.
Okay, so like as far as the snake stuff goes, had a family member who lived like out in the country and it was probably an 8-foot boa constrictor named Charlie. And I was, 5 or 6. And I remember I'd go and, hang out most weekends in the summer, going to hang out with Charlie. And Charlie had this big, custom made enclosure. And I had no business, but I would get up in the morning and open the latch and drag this giant, well, of course, it was pretty big, even if, 8-foot, boa is still 8-foot boa. But when it's, you're 6 years old, that thing was massive. So I, would open his enclosure in the morning and drag his ass outside, and we would go on adventures, and it would just be me dragging this, boa around, and never bit me. I don't know how. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was 6. And of course, my mom was mortified of him, wouldn't, it's going to eat you and the whole thing. Fast forward, always had the interest. Was at the library getting all the books. Wild Discovery was a thing. Animal Planet wasn't a thing yet.
Zoo books.
We did have zoo books in our school library. But I did get, and I sent it to the group chat, the animal, I want to say it was like Wildlife Explorer or something. It was a binder that had like little fold out things.
And the dinosaur
Dude.
ones too.
So I that fed it. But I was is whatever. I was a weirdo nerd. Had those. I had, the Birds of North America 400-page book. I'd drag it around and read all that. I just wanted to know everything about all the things. Then anyway, fast forward to, I don't know, like 1997. I decided to get into the Boy Scouts, and for the first merit badge, you had to save up your money to get something. And I found my in to get a snake. So I did my research, and it's like, I'm gonna do all the research and did the thing. Then went to the pet store. Finally saved up all the money, and I did all the research and decided what color of calcium sand I was going to get, because that's what we had. So, went to the pet store. I was like, I want a corn snake. That's what they said is the best. The guy's like, you live in Georgia. You can't have those. Well, shit. So the dude said, well, hang on, let me see. So he put this little, 10-inch worm in my hands, and it crawled all over me, and I fell in love. And that was my first snake, was a boa constrictor, just like Charlie.
Excellent.
And to this day, I'll always have one. I'm kind of done with big snakes, run the gamut.
Yeah.
But I'll always have at least one Colombian, which I think they're just boa imperator now.
Right.
But just nostalgic, and they're awesome, dude. You can't beat them. I'm very much now team room temperature, team ambient, 78 to 80 degrees. However, those are it. Then I was a snake dude through high school. Attempted to go to college, dropped out of that, and had a bunch of weird jobs. I ended up curating a private collection for a dude that had more money than sense in Nashville, or outside of Nashville, in a town called Camden, Tennessee.
Okay.
That got real burnout. Now it was wild. It was it was something else. But did that. It was just me and one other guy, and we had, I don't know, it was probably 1,000 animals we were working with.
Mostly reptiles, or
it was say that again.
Mostly reptiles.
Yeah, ton of reptiles. Or it was all reptiles, mostly snakes. Some probably 20 or 30 bearded dragons. This was also in the days of, who was it? Wasn't it Ben Siegel that was doing the auctions on Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay. He was doing a lot of those, and then I think Exotics in Vegas was doing about the same thing.
Ken Foose.
Right.
And so, like I said, the dude, like, that was his passion. Changed whenever, every like 6 months he would be a new thing. So then when I was there, he was back in reptiles, and dude had a lot of money, ton of it. I mean, we were getting stuff in like every single week.
Wow.
It was a ridiculous amount of stuff. But ended up leaving there, was super burnout. Like, it was, we wouldn't get, the proper caging. I would ask for a lot of stuff, but something that rich folks do is they pinch them pennies. That's how they, stay rich. So I was having to make do with little to nothing, and it was just wasn't a great time. I got that really burnt me out, and that was around 2010, maybe 2011.
This gentleman who owned this, he didn't happen to have a like 9 or 10 foot black mamba that was super friendly, did he?
Nope.
Okay.
No, wasn't that.
Right.
Which we'll talk later, but you probably know him because he had a tactical gear company.
Interesting.
You probably know where it was.
All right.
But got done with that, left there, and didn't do much of anything at all. kept one or two little piddly things, didn't do anything. Then came COVID, and you know, she didn't have anything else to do. So I was like, you know what? Let me go walk around. And so I was a keeper before I tried field herping. I didn't find shit. If it was 10 minutes in the woods, I was like, well, there's no snakes that live out here. I'm going back home. This is
Yeah.
boring.
Yep.
So started actually, looking and putting some time in, and decided to start my state species list, and was knocking out stuff, actually finding shit, and man, getting the fire was growing, and it just kind of exploded from there, and that's how I found you guys, and I found NPR. I don't remember what podcast I was listening to, but that's what it was. So when I was working the private collection, Urban Jungles Radio was on, and that was the only one I had remembered. So I was like, I wonder if that's still a thing. So my AC just kicked on. If y'all can't hear me, I'll let me know.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. So Urban Jungles was a thing. I was like, I wonder if those are still, if that's still going on. And lo and behold, like there was 400 something episodes of NPR, and then y'all were easily 100 episodes in on this, and there was more on THN stuff, and there was a big rigmarole of shows. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And then, as I say, like when I left everything, we just had king snake and fauna. That was it. Morph market, I didn't know about it. Much less how expensive everything got. I didn't know that emperor scorpions were $100. Like that blew me away. But then started listening to y'all, and I guess that brings us to today. Here we are.
Excellent. I'm glad you did, brother.
Yeah, man. It's y'all do good shit, and there's a few out there that are just unlistenable. Like it's like a frat party, and dudes screaming, hollering at each other. But I don't want it so dense that it's just absolutely. I can't sit.
Flipping 10 is happening later this week, I think. Getting to, or now I'm playing catch up essentially. Sure. I'm still trying to figure everything out. I've given up on morphs of anything. That's not I've come full circle with the morphs. I'm back on the old guy stuff of just wanting locality stuff. Natural. We're doing natural phenotypes, baby. That's how we are in this house. So he's a fellow member of the Andean milk.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Dude, and I don't know. I want to say there was an Andean milk page on King Snake, or there was I know it was on King Snake, and just no one had them. I never heard of them before. I was like, oh, those are pretty neat. They get big, but they don't just black out like the black milks do. So, yeah, that'd be all right. And kind of gave up on them because nobody I knew was ever messing with them until I don't know if it was when I started looking at Morph Market a while back, but David Dean was the first one I saw that actually had them, and I didn't have to guess if it was legit. It wasn't a hobby Andean or hobby milk or something like that.
Sure.
Which
sure.
no shame in that. You want the hobby stuff, that's cool. I'll probably grab one or two hobby Durans or hobby Pueblans just because Pueblans are neat, and so are Hondurans.
Yeah, man.
But now I got three, one male and two females. So, and they like the biggest male or the male and the female have at least another 2 years before I'm even remotely going to put them together. I'm in no rush to do them. It'll be awesome. And I'll probably end up giving more away than I'll end up selling just because I want other people to have them.
Sure.
But yeah, Andeans are freaking awesome. I mean, it's hard to beat, a 5 or 6 foot, tricolor animal that you can keep at 75 degrees, that eats nonstop. You don't really have to worry about it. Super chill temperament. Like they're not.
Your smaller ones, are they fairly picky or no?
As far as food goes, no.
No, because mine have been.
No, I thought I kind of fucked up. I thought about a bunch of stuff out, and I sort of overestimated the smallest female's size, and I presented it, which they're buried under the old cocoa bark 99% of the time.
Yeah.
I almost never see them. So kind of dug around, found her. Just kind of presented it, waited for her to do her sandworm thing, and she came out and grabbed it, and man, that thing was. I was nervous. I was like, oh well, it's a little too late now. I guess we'll see what happens. But she swallowed it and made a good job of it. But I learned that lesson, so that'll be she'll get smaller next time. But she's not.
Well,
they're not.
Do you think
big.
the larger item was what enticed her?
Maybe, but I mean, with the 3, I've never had them ever refuse.
Okay.
You're just super shy. It seems like I don't. I offer up live, if it's not the right size, they just kind of freak out and ignore it. And then if I drop feeding, does nothing. Like they one of them will eat regularly. If I drop feed, the other one, it's like I have to hunt it down, put it in front of it, make it realize it's there, and then maybe it might eat it. But
yeah,
they've definitely been fairly hit or miss for me so far. But,
yeah, I don't traditionally drop feed them. Like I'll open it up and I'll try to find them, at least locate them, give them a little tap or something, try to get them at least a tongue flick or 2 on it. And then if they don't grab it right then, I'll drop it. Now they know that it's actually there.
yeah.
And then I haven't come back and found it, not eaten yet. I'm pretty badass when it comes to stuff like that. So just if you need any tips or tricks, just holler at your boy. So I got you.
It's funny because I got a male wild rose pass subok from Rob Nemo, and he before I bought it, I knew in advance. He's like, "Look, man, this is a live feeder only." And I was like, "That's no problem. I feed half my stuff live anyway." And when I got it, it could probably take an adult mouse, but I want to be on the safe side, so I threw in a small hopper. Didn't eat it in front of me, and then I walked back 5 minutes later, and I saw it eating it. Well, a couple feedings later, I was like, let me get some weight on him. So I tried to wrap up. Wanted nothing to do with it. Just terrified. Well, 3 days ago, got a small wrap up, dropped it in there after doing what you said of waking him up. And then I left the room for 10 minutes, came back, and it was gone. So I think there is definitely some validity to the don't tease feed, don't stress them out, but just give them a little touch to wake them up and make them get the tongue going, and then they realize that the game is on. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think part of it may have been too that I've offered live rat pinks, and some of them were on the slightly larger side, kind of like what you were saying with yours, Sanchez, is they seem to be fairly easily intimidated by stuff that's
yeah.
So and also I've noticed with rats in particular, especially with smaller stuff, they seem to be not even just the Andeans, but stuff across the board. Some of the rhinos, they won't touch a rat pink, but if you put a mouse fuzzy in there, it's gone. But if it smells like rat, they won't touch it. They almost freak out. One of my adult female rhinos, if I try to give her a live rat pinky, she freaks the fuck out and will strike at it multiple times and run, and just wants nothing to do with it. And I wonder if it's because it's a rat and they like that rat scent,
and
they have
that's
some sort of equation to like, this is a problem, this isn't food, this is a threat.
Yep.
And I wonder if that has something to do with it, because mice, it's the complete opposite reaction. They're like, oh, a mouse, sweet, I'm gonna eat, you know.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of that comes from it. It's the being the scent of the rat, but you know, regardless, I don't know if rat pups and adult rats smell the same, but when you know, they get that scent. You know, adult rats are capable of a much more damage than an adult mouse or juvenile mouse, or whatever it is. So I can see that being a pretty deeply ingrained, you know, cue. Now, I'd be curious if nest raiders would react the same way. The fox snakes. Now, the foxes I got, they're not big enough to take rat pups yet. They're still on like 2 or 3 mouse pinks at a time. But I mean, they're nest raiders essentially. But then again, so are calibars, but that's a completely different, you know, kettle of fish. You know, and that's another one I might, if I got the boa and I'm already kind of doing the not room temperature stuff on that one. Calibars are high on my list. They're so freaking cool. It's, you know, like the charming savage, just little Mr. Hanky looking dude, goes in to murk a whole rodent family, like eats the babies first alive. But and that's the probably, you know, notwithstanding worm snakes or you know, Carcophis or something like that. It's the only snake I've never heard nor seen or experienced no one being bit by a calibar ever. And the but if I did a sort of a deep dive on them, I don't know, probably a year or two ago, and I knew their skin was pretty tough, but they have like the thickest dermal layer of any snake, I want to say, on record.
Really?
And it's just to defend against piercing rodent bites.
Wow.
That's what it's there for. Is they'll go in, like I said, eat the kids. Mom and dad are pissed off that, you know, African soft fur or whatever rodent species they're eating, and the pair, they just can't stab through that super dense. Like if you look, and I'll try to find the report or the paper on it, but just how the dermal layer like weaves together, like it's like chainmail. It's freaking cool.
That's awesome. Hashtag Dirt Snake Mafia.
Dude, yes. Calibars are freaking cool. And when they go to shed, their whole body turns like a blue. It's really, really, really well. There's actually a photo on iNat of one that's in shed, but and it turns that really super weird white color just because of how thick that dermal layer is.
Yeah.
They're really neat, really, really
Very
cool.
I don't know if it was you or someone else that also mentioned, like, because the Andeans and like the rough-scaled sand boas, like they don't have as wide of a gape.
Yep.
Therefore, smaller prey is usually probably the better route to go, because they just they're not as elastic in terms of like being able to take larger prey items, especially the Chronicles. Like, without a doubt, you know, those are very limited in terms of what they can wrap their mouth around. But
absolutely, and Calabar same way. A lot of your sand boas same way. That limited gate potential, you know, is another reason they probably freak out or just aren't interested in certain things of certain sizes. But I think that also goes for a lot of your like corals. A lot of your Ophiophagus stuff has a limited gate potential.
They don't really need to have a large one though.
Exactly.
You know,
absolutely. And that's when, you know, when you get folks trying to feed stuff that it's not either meant to or not designed to eat, and they struggle with it. It's like, well, it's because it's not what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I don't keep cobras, but I know a number of folks who keep or have kept kings, and they struggle with rats. They're not made for that. They get them down, but you know I can't imagine that their system takes kindly to
No,
that.
it never does, and it usually causes a premature death. And a lot of the old timers that I used to interact with, who are either long gone by now or completely out of the hobby, they used to literally take small rats and douse them in mineral oil so that it would be a lubricant so they could shove it down the king's throat. And like, obviously that it is as barbaric as it sounds, but they
Yeah.
didn't have access to snakes that we have access to now. You know what I mean? The Everglades wasn't full of pythons. So, but it's wild. And just going back to the whole smelling like a rat, smelling like a mouse thing, I try, for the majority of stuff that is primarily rodent eaters, I've always tried to get stuff on rat pinks as soon as possible, because to me they're just a meteor item, and it's the ultimate transition to rats, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
what I've had to do in the past is, if I have a cup with and whether it's live or frozen thawed, regardless, if I have a cup of 4 or 5 fuzzies, I'll throw 4 or 5 rat pinks in there too. If they're alive, they're going to be crawling and slithering around each other, and they're going to rub each other's scent on each other. And then if I'm thawing them out in warm water, it's going to be the same effect. I'm cooking them together. And that has, at least in my opinion, that has helped definitely transition to rats like lickety split. So,
Well, and if given the option for a lot of stuff, if I can feed it rats, I would kind of prefer that. I know the science is out there, and the studies are out there, the papers are out there, that they're, higher in fat. They have all the good stuff in there, especially compared to mice of same or similar size. Um, but given the option, I prefer to feed a number of smaller items versus one giant one.
yeah.
Notwithstanding, the bigger snakes, the boas and stuff like that. Um, I've taken it. It's a different method for those, and of course, all this is species sort of dependent. With the Andeans, with a lot of the colubrids, I'll do 2 or 3, pinks or something where it's either the same diameter or maybe just a little bit smaller, whatever it is. Um, and you can even transition this into the tub haters out there. There's no um, oh my God, what is it? Not interaction.
Enrichment.
Enrichment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got enrichment there. Hide them places, rub them around that thing. Put them in stuff, put them under stuff. You get multiple prey items. Like that does quite a bit, and it tends to um, help them grow a bit faster. I don't have anything on paper, but I don't think it taxes their system as much as a huge prey item does. I think Doc Loftman does a great job explaining. I think it was Doc Loftman that was explaining how what some of the physical changes the bodies go through. The blood soup gets super thick. The organs are getting bigger and getting smaller, and if you're feeding big prey items back to back to back to back to back, that's how you end up with snakes that instead of living their 20 or 30 years, they're 10 and they're cashing out.
Yeah.
When you have, what is it? I think the world's oldest snake in captivity I want to say it was a ball in like Philadelphia Zoo or something, like 56 years, or it was something along those lines. Um, and I guarantee you they were probably feeding that thing maybe once a month.
Yeah.
So
If that.
Oh yeah, if that. Well, again, I'm playing catch up and having to learn new, what the new way of doing things, as far as the boas go, because I only got one. I'll probably only ever have just one. But in Russo's the complete boa constrictor book, or even before he wrote it, they were talking about seasonally fasting um, your animals, which that was never occurred to me because we were told once a week, every week you feed it. That's when you do it.
Yeah.
Um,
Every Thursday.
and yep, that's it. Um, and like that is still perpetuated. You go to any group, any forum, like that is absolutely still perpetuated. I really don't have a schedule anymore. Um, I mean, I'll go when it's easier for me, but I might feed, every Saturday or Sunday. This one will eat a couple, this one eat whatever, but it might not eat for another 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like and I have not seen any ill effect other than if it's been on a 2 week fast, I open that drawer up, like it's ready.
It's go
Um,
time.
oh yeah, it is bringing the heat. But other than that, um, yeah, man, it's
And I've got stuff, and I know Smitty will agree with me. He's probably the same way. Where it's also species specific too, like you were saying. Where I've got stuff that, especially baby stuff, that eats once a week. Like corn snakes, they eat once a week.
Yep.
Rat snakes,
Yep.
they eat once a week. My cerastes, my sand vipers, once a month, maybe once every other month, depends on what's going on, what I got on hand, and they're fat and healthy, and it's because that's what it is in the desert. That's how they live. So could I feed them more? Sure. Should I? Arguable.
And now it's coming to, well, one, with COVID, with all that, now you have a whole new generation of people keeping that have never kept before.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. Right on. Y'all, keep on keeping on. Life's a garden, dig it. That being said, um, you know, doing the research, um, and when you mentioned feeding the cerastes once a month, um, that's where not just getting the pamphlet, but really showing a genuine interest in the animal, and the role they play, the natural history of it. What's this gaboon do? Like it sits in the same spot for a long time. It eats whatever it happens to come across, which could be big, could be small, and then it will poop and then move to another spot, and then we'll be there for another few more weeks.
Yeah.
And it's hard to explain.
Poop may be every 6 months.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, same with short tails. You got that convergent evolution. Same, about same body style, different animal, but um, and like I've done. I got like a TikTok channel. I do basic, like uh, or I would say basic information on how often should I feed my ball python. What do I do for my tortoise that does this? That just basic kind of stuff. Um, but I'm explaining stuff that maybe I wanted to know when I first got into
Sure.
keeping. And you when you explain, well, you have two different types of predation. You have active foragers, and then you have your ambush guys. Your active foragers are pretty much all your colubrids, your cobras, a lot of your real fast, super skinny, crazy stuff. And then once a week you can probably or hell, dry marcon, you can feed them probably every day, and you wouldn't affect them at all.
Yeah.
And then you have your passive stuff, your ball pythons, a lot of your boids. Once every 2 to 3 weeks, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
But it's trying to beat back all the bad information. And the sad thing is, some of the bigger, the bigger names, bigger channels, bigger shows are perpetuating a lot of this bad information. And, it's tough in these streets. It's a struggle sometimes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Which that is the other side of that coin for like what we're talking about with people and being lazy in the researching of the information is like there is a lot of information out there now, which statistically means there's going to be a lot of bad information in the mix as well. And so I can understand not knowing exactly who to trust, what to trust. When you have people in a group saying one thing and then you go on YouTube and there's someone else saying a different thing and they've got, 500,000 subscribers, whatever. Like, so like in that regard, I do get it. But I've always said, if you're not sure, like you look at multiple sources and you see sort of the common denominator of what those sources are saying and you base it off that.
Yeah. So that's nail on the head right there. And we'll get weird and poetic, but taking things from multiple sources. So one of my favorite quotes is from Walt Whitman's Songs of Myself. It's you shall not take things from second or third hand, nor look through the eyes of the dead, nor feed on the specters of books. You shall not look through my eyes either, nor take things from me. Instead, you shall take from all sides and filter them from yourself. Yeah, sure. Watch a couple different YouTube channels, get a couple of different Facebook groups, but, filter that out. And, but when, when it comes down to it, there's two schools. So you have, and I won't call it ignorant. We'll just say ignorance or just, not knowing. That's easy to fix. That's fixed with information. Got that. No problem. We've all been there. Didn't know how to do something. I can fix that. I can point you to who can. So there's ignorance or just not knowing. Fixable. No problem. But then you have just plain stupidity. And that is guarded ignorance. That is not wanting to know. That is the, I don't know about that. I don't need to know about that. And yeah, that's only fixed with an ass whooping, but it's still not fixed after that. And it's the guarded ignorance that is the big struggle in a lot of the groups. And I don't know how many times I've joined, left, because I would like, I like to try to help folks out. I was there. I didn't know, my snake's poop looks weird. What does this mean?
I still do that now with my friends.
Oh yeah. Well, and I think I've dropped it in the group chat once or twice. We all get burnt out, but we've all been there. We were all beginners at one point. Had the questions, didn't want to seem stupid, were afraid to ask. I try to think about how I was when I first started. Was just a kid, didn't know, and explain it, as respectfully and forthright as possible. Now, if you're going to be a dick and you just want me to confirm your bullshit, yeah, that I'm not going to do.
Yeah, if you just want validation, that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
no, not doing that. It's definitely a really cool new world, and if anyone that's watching this or listening to this that has been out of it for a while, one definitely yep, the ghosts are acting up, and by the ghosts,
not welcome here.
They are most definitely welcome.
It's the goddamn House Panthers. But the podcasts, are definitely a net positive, 100%. Now, also, go to Daytona. I'm now like my last year was my first one. Like it is and the show was great. The show was awesome. Better than I ever could have dreamed it was. Huge, awesome, all kinds of stuff. But the gazebo was it. Like that was, going from, you know, like I can't talk about most of this stuff in my day to day, not at work. Um, you know, the missus, really enjoys tortoises, and so there's some conversations there, but you know, to be able to spout out just all of the stuff
Yeah.
that I've been churning around my brain, being able to pick brains from people, um, and it's a solid group of folks too. Um, that's one thing that the Facebook groups or the Instagram pages, you have to have some sort of a personal interaction.
Yeah.
Um, I just started a local like herp society, or I guess I just named it that. I don't know what the hell it takes to be a society, but it sounded better than nerds getting together to talk about nerd stuff. Um, you know, you'd be surprised. Like I didn't know then. I set a little table up in my neighborhood at our like outdoor. We have a neighborhood garden, and set a table up, put some animals out there, a couple books, little doodads and things, and apparently there's a dude in my neighborhood who breeds all kinds of weird Western hog morphs, which
Oh
bless him
wow.
for that. Tried hogs. I have 3 Westerns left, and those need to get out of my house as quickly as possible. Westerns ain't my thing. Tried it, can't do it. Nope. That whole eat once and shit 4 times thing, you can have that. I'm good on that. Nothing. Um, they're cute and stuff. The bite is not a bee sting. That needs to quit. But um, now the interaction is definitely a big net positive for anybody that's into it. Um, like I can't speak highly enough about everybody that I've talked to. Um, like coming from being real burnout and kind of jaded. Granted, everyone was trying to make $1 million on ball pythons. Everybody was going to be the next, drop whoever's name in here.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I tried it. Guess what? That shit didn't work. That was not for me. Um, and I'm a terrible salesman at that. But um, finding a whole new appreciation for everything and being able to share that with other people, man, like it's a whole new world, and I just am now getting into it. um it's something, and you guys have built something beautiful, um between THN and NPR. Y'all really have got something solid. Like
Thank you,
this
bro.
is definitely something special, 100%.
We
You
appreciate
tried
it, man.
the ball python thing?
I did. I was going to make $1 million on what did I have? Um, I had a couple pieds, had some,
Pastels.
yeah, um, which I still like pieds. They're awesome. I'm going to get one at some point just for when I do little talks and stuff.
Yeah,
Um, they're just eye catching, just
of
regular
course.
old 50% pod. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
It's ball python people with the ball python bros. I can't. I can't. Those dudes go speed dating at their family reunions, and I don't fuck with that. So um, it's just not for me. But yeah, I tried it. I couldn't. Um, it was just
Was it like,
boring.
were you like actually producing stuff and you just like you had a hard time moving it? Like what was the point where you realized like, okay, this is not what I was expecting it to be?
Well, when I started seeing, like, there was new, everyone had a world's first, like, and this was in 2008 ish, 2009. Um, when there was, World's First happening, it seemed like every damn month. And then I'd either trade or, wholesale off something to try to save up to get that next big thing that was going to throw my genetics. And I'm terrible at math. So after you throw in
I'm with
so
you.
many genetic thing, I can't, um, you know, it just wasn't for me. And I got kind of bummed because I thought, I paid attention to what the internet told me. It told me if I bred these pieds and these albinos and created the heads for this stuff and put them on the internet, that everyone would flock to my house and I'd have a Corvette sitting in the driveway next week. They lied. They lied like a motherfucker. That shit didn't happen at all. I was still broke. I was broke with animals that I didn't want to look at no more. Um, it, and nothing against nothing against the animals. But like I said, I've come full old man circle where I have an appreciation for just the natural, normal phenotypes. Um, you know, and especially after like this weekend, I took a couple pictures, took everybody outside, and I was like, man, you want to feel like get a reinvigorated, view on your stuff. Take that shit outside, get it in some natural sunlight, man. Like even your normal stuff, just it looks awesome,
Pops. It just
man.
pops.
It really looks good. And then when you get into appreciating the natural history of things, um, whether it be, balls, corns, kings, whatever it is, you start getting into the nitty gritty of that stuff. Like it's awesome.
Yeah.
And then meet folks who are just as excited about the new radio telemetry study that someone did in, Togo. And you're all talking about how male balls don't just sit in a termite mound all day. They actually travel and go places and do things. They're not arboreal, Kaufman, but they there's a lot more. There's a lot more there, and it's a real exciting time to be in it. So anyone who's just now getting into this, herpetocultural COVID babies, my hat's off to you. Like this is the time.
Yeah.
The pool is deep. So
The golden age.
oh yeah, man, you need some water wings in this bitch. Like it's just deep.
Nice. Well said, man. Well said.
Where do you think it's gonna go? Like if we're where we are now, like I do sometimes wonder and think about like what is herpetoculture gonna look like in the next 10 years? Like how's it gonna change? Like if we've already kind of at a spot where it's like, does it really get much better than this in terms of availability of information and things like that? Like what's the next route that things are gonna go?
Ooh. That's a good one.
Because I think technology is going to be the big one. I think technologically we're going to see a lot.
Oh yeah, that's always going to play a part, and I welcome that. But let me grab I need one more champagne. So Phil, you can spout what you think. I'll be right back.
Well, I'm with the tech thing, man. Climate control is going to be huge, and right now we have thermostats with probes. We have adjustable thermostats that we can feather the temp, whether it be by fractions of a degree or not, regardless what kind of scale you're working on. But even things like Govee light sockets. I was just talking to my fiance about that. Like Govee, she's like, "Why didn't you tell me this a long time ago? We could have the whole house on it." I was like, "I know," but having climate control for individual enclosures, that's going to be huge. Whether it's naturalistic or sterile, like you're going to be able to set it up right. And we have more boots on the ground now, whether it just be people enjoying field herping and photography or actual scientists. And I really see like the individual climate control per enclosure being a much greater thing. And I also feel like because of social media and us being able to see things we didn't know existed,
Mm-hmm.
more people are going to acquire those animals, hopefully under legitimate circumstances, and do their damnedest to keep them as best as possible and reproduce them in captivity so that more of us can enjoy these crazy things we didn't know existed. At least that's how I feel.
What about information? Like as the attention span gets shorter and we're getting more and more, like the short form video format seems to be getting shorter and shorter. Like at what point, like what's it
Yeah.
going to look like? You know, long form is always
Yeah.
like you look up things on starting podcasts and videos now and they're like, keep it, you want the best results, keep it under an hour or keep it under 45 minutes. And it's like, I don't feel like you can really actually have a conversation, especially if you're having multiple people involved. Like,
Yeah.
you're not going to get into a whole lot. So it's like the long form thing will forever be something that we do, you know, because I like doing that. Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. And if someone doesn't want to listen to 2 hours of it, like, okay, have fun, but it's
Yeah.
there, you know? So I wonder, like with reels and things being so popular, like what's it going to end up? What's the end game there? Like, are we just going to end up having 5-second videos and it's going to be like 2 words? People are like, oh, okay, I know exactly what they're talking about. Like it's weird. There's diminishing returns, I guess, is kind of the best way to put it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's, like I'm doing the TikTok thing, and it's essentially, basics of how often do I feed my this, what do I need, what substrate do I use for that, kind of, basic sort of short form stuff, which I think is it's at 10 minutes right now, and I think they might have just moved it to where you can do longer videos. Um, but I'm trying to separate things that I would like versus what someone in a complete that's brand new, the new generation, super short form stuff. Give it to me in 5 minutes, and then I'll roll with it. Um, I'm having to kind of play catch up on that. I can understand it, but I feel the long form allows you to get one deeper in everything, but cover enough bases to where there's not so many extemporaneous questions on, whatever it may be. Um, now as far as technology goes, again, that's a net positive. Um, coming from, we all had 40-gallon breeders, glass tanks, and I think Vision, the what were the angled glass from? Was it Neodicia's?
Neodesia, yeah.
Yep. Um, so come a long way from that sort of stuff. Now, then I think, and it's a nipperism, but I think a lot of it's going to go from people keeping a lot of stuff, the old Noah's Ark sort of style of, to keep fewer better.
Yeah.
I think we're already on that trend. I think that seems to be
like, as I speak, I don't have, compared to what I've had in the past, whatever it was, like I don't have a whole lot, but I'm already trimming down to where it'll probably just be the Andeans, the Splendida, and maybe 1 or 2 odds and ends. But like that's kind of it. Um, you know, but I do applaud a lot of the social media stuff, whether it be the social media channels, YouTube stuff, podcast stuff. Um, with as much exposure as out there, folks are realizing that you can, if you're keeping in a tub, great. You can do different things in tubs. You can do different enrichment stuff, add things. I know a number of different manufacturers are doing different stuff with tubs, whether it be windows, adding more windows, ventilation things. Like there's a good solid swing for that. Now, what I'm probably most excited about in the future is folks are realizing that keeping giant whatever it is not the way to go.
Yeah.
If you know, with very few exception, I can't name more than maybe 2 or 3 people personally that I know are equipped to handle 20-foot retics, 200 plus pound sulcatas, and keep them where they are, in good condition,
Yeah.
physically, mentally, etc. I'm seeing that kind of go by the wayside, and I'm all about that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know where all of the all the green iguanas went, all the retics sold at the mom and pop shows, but we're starting to get a more positive trend in folks keeping stuff, being more responsible, and again, a lot of that comes from just the information out there.
Yeah.
A I have a very, I would say, positive outlook for herpetoculture in that um, the lines of communication are there, the information is out there. Um, it's just you kind of have to sift through it, um, and that sort of ends up being the crux of it.
Yeah.
Um, being we're in an information age where you know probably the first 6 links on Google when how to care for my Mexican milk or whatever it is. Those 6 links probably aren't going to lead you to much, um, but um, yeah, I'm positive. I'm positive. The the positives in where we're at now far outweigh the negatives of where we had been. Um, and with few exception of people getting tagged by stuff they shouldn't have had or
Yeah.
whatever it is, um, you know, things are absolutely on a upswing, and we're leaving the day of of the puppy mills and the grungy flipper tables. Um, you know, you know, it, yeah. Well, I'll leave it there. It's a net positive. There's a lot spinning into my giant
No,
naked wheel.
we see we see the gears turning, brother.
It's a net positive. We're on a good trajectory. And again, what you guys and the Podfather have made is absolutely a cornerstone in where we're at now, and a big reason why things are going as well as they have, is because we have that interaction from different people who keep different things with different methods. But I can guarantee you that how I keep things is not the same way Justin does. It's not the same way Phil does, and but we still end up with the same result. The animals are fine. We're doing fine.
Yeah.
We're getting positive results. You're seeing behaviors you haven't seen before. Um, you know, and it's funny enough to open up the old books and see that, guess what? Keeping bioactively is something that old guys were doing a long time ago. They kept sticks, dirt, bugs, everything. You don't have to boil every tree trunk that you bring in for your enclosure. Just put it in there. You'll be fine. I promise. Couple weird spiders in your snake enclosure is not going to hurt anybody. You'll be okay.
Yeah.
Pinky,
Especially if it's North American.
Oh yeah.
Just going back to talking about the length of videos and the attention span and all that. Riley's Reptiles just put out a really good video on keeping venomous in your collection, and he got a Northern Pacific rattlesnake, and he shows step by step how he extracts that animal, cleans its cage, and puts it back. And I can't remember how long the video is, 10-20 minutes, something like that, but it is good and boring. and he tells you flat out this video is going to be good and boring because it's by the book, and he does a good job of it. And I feel like the most people that don't have that attention span, they have that TikTok mind of 15 seconds and I'm out, or 10 seconds and I'm out. They're going to watch it and they're going to skip to the next one. Oh well. But the people that genuinely want to know that information are going to watch the whole video. And I still think that, you doing your 10-minute stuff and him doing his YouTube, 20-minute videos, whatever they are, longer, I think it's fantastic. I think we should still do it regardless of, how many people watch, because the people that watch are actually caring about it, and that's great.
Oh yeah, well, and you get blowback from I guess certain platforms or certain sites with, a lot of that stuff a lot of stuff that we do should absolutely be boring. The big, one of my big deals on TikTok, or I guess really TikTok, is the live feeding videos, and it's like it's just not. It shouldn't, it shouldn't be done. If you got stuff that eats live, yeah, I got it. But now, and this is another reason why I got out of the the ball python pyramid scheme, is when you start viewing them as dollar signs instead of animals that you're taking care of. Yeah, that's wrong. There's something wrong with that. It it shouldn't be that way. And usually those folks get called out, pretty damn quick. But I've done one or two videos on, and I've fed now frozen thawed stuff, and you obviously risk a flag for whether it be endangerment or dangerous acts or whatever it is. But I show how boring your feeding day should be, unless you have a false water cobra or something, lunatic, some kind of lunatic animals, which we all have one or two. But feeding day is not what is perpetuated. And I'm not doing backflips in my room. There's not things screaming at me. There's not, I'm not the exaggerated drama. No, feeding day should be, you pull it out, hand it, close it, on to the next one.
Yep.
That's it. So that will always be kind of I don't see that sort of thing changing, because people make money off of making TikToks and YouTube videos and things like that, and that's the kind of stuff that sells.
Yeah.
But I try to I try to reach out to everybody, beginners, whoever. But if in 10 seconds it didn't hit you, it wasn't meant for you. Sorry, it's just how it is.
Yeah, well put.
I like a little more meat and potatoes with all the stuff.
Sure.
Like I appreciate it, and that's what got me with you guys and with NPR is long form video or audio. Because one, I can just put y'all in my ears at work, and I'm driving or riding or doing whatever all day long, and 10 or 15-minute clips just don't do it.
Yeah.
There's so much more. You can go into so much more detail. It's just a better way of putting information out there. And the variety of guests that y'all have is, obviously tonight is probably the best one for the past.
It is. Let's just be real.
The amount of variety, it's not just one, which there are channels just for, the ball bros or whatever. But this is very, very much a good, solid platform for what is definitely going to be a fruitful view into the future of keeping and into the caliber of people that are keeping right now.
Well, thank you, Bubba.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just, it was one of the things, like I told Jake, really early on, like, we're not trying to sort of cater to everybody, and it's like the right people will find it if that's what they're looking for.
Yeah.
It's like you just put it out and whatever happens. Just, it is sort of an ecosystem, and it it will either carry on or it will not.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't see it going anywhere.
Don't try to fight it. Don't try to force it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You let the bus drive itself. It's one of those Tesla buses.
It's really short. Really short.
Very short.
Real short. And always a party.
Like one of those clown cars.
Yep. Oh man.
Just keep piling out.
So has your field herping, not to switch gears, but has your field herping gotten better? You've sent me some awesome pictures as of recent.
Okay. Yes. My field herping has definitely gotten better. I no longer send photos to Nipper because I immediately get lambasted and burned at the stake for how shitty my photos are, how I didn't know what salamander this was. I cry myself to sleep almost every night. I can't do it anymore. But no, it's gotten a lot better. And it's, man, you start to appreciate stuff. And I know this is almost beating the dead horse because I know I've heard you guys say it a number of different times, but man, seeing things in the field, like where they're supposed to be, well, one, it gives you a new appreciation for just that thing. And I mean, look, the day that I become the day that I
thing.
Oh yeah. Well, the day that I am bored or become or I'm not excited about finding a ringneck or a smooth earth or something I've found 20 or 30 times before, I have yet to roll a rock over and see a little ringneck under there and I go, ooh, and I have to pick it up and I have to see it and I have to look at it, take a bunch of pictures of it. Just I have to.
Yeah.
Every snake I find in the field or every animal I find in the field is the prettiest one I found up until that date. That was the one. Now some are more special than others, especially when you start knocking your lists off. Like just the past, I got my lifer common snapper, which I've seen one or two and never took pictures of it, but went to a local creek. I thought it was dead. It was just kind of floating, on the top of the water, like real weird. He was not even a little bit. He that
nice.
He was real feisty. But dude, he was old, missing an eye, like his mouth. He's like looked like he was chewing gravel, like his beak was all gnarly. He's probably older than Methuselah, but
pirate turtle.
Oh yeah, dude, he was awesome.
He's seen some shit.
Oh yeah, he has. At least the left side of shit because his right eye was gone. He's seen the left side of it. But that was awesome. Dude, I couldn't talk. I tried to do one or two little TikToks when I found him. I couldn't because I couldn't talk. Every time every time you get that life or whatever it is, dude, I'll scream, holler. Can't talk, can't explain it. But finding stuff in the field has given me a new appreciation for, even if it's just how I set up tubs. I'll add a few little things here and there, a couple silk plants, whatever it is, move things around, throwing leaf cover in there. You can do a lot with a little. And but you also realize that, hey, just because it's 90 degrees out here, guess what? You're not finding nothing because
Right.
it's hot as balls. Nothing's out unless it's a psychotic black racer, because those are not even, those are just the devil anyway. Um, you know, I've really come to one, appreciate it, but now that we're kind of at the tail end, at least in a bit of the South, we're coming to the tail end of snake season. Everything's about to go under. Now it's salamander season. So uh, I was not, I'm still not a big amphibian dude. I
Mhm.
do love a good toad. So I will I will do a nipper. I do appreciate a good toad. Um, but a lot of that, or toad appreciation, just stemmed from, if I went out and didn't find shit, I guarantee you I found at least 6 toads. So I just started taking pictures of all of, the toads. And man, the amount of variation in just the same area of toads is wild. Um,
You got 4 species by you?
oh, we got let's see. And we got Fowlers, like Fowlers, American,
Narrowmouth, American.
narrowmouth American, Spadefoot. Um, we got we got a few.
Yeah.
Um, and like every spring, like late spring, my little, I have like 2 or 3 little ghetto, like water garden tubs that happen to fill up with rainwater, and now I get toad orgies in them every year. So
Hell yeah.
it is freaking cool. So, but just finding those has been something. But being able to see when you find something, what was it doing? Where was it at? And if you want to, go super nerd in it, you carry a temp gun with you to see if you can get temperatures on stuff. Um, there's one spot I go to I'm trying to find, trying to get, I should be able to get Simus, Southern Pine, and Eastern Diamondback all in the same area. Um, but I took a temp gun out there, and it was like 56. This was last. It was 56. So like air temperature was 56 degrees, and I just happened. I had my temp gun out there, and I was shooting. They had some, charred pine trees from a previous burn, and just a couple rocks and stuff. And just the temperature on the temperature on the side of the trees and some of the rocks was upwards of 100 degrees. Air temperature of 50, 56, but the rocks, the trees, the exposed bark was, at or over 100 degrees.
Wow.
Like that gives you a new appreciation for, um, you know, temperature variations, how robust and how strong these animals are. Guess what? If your power goes out and they're cold for a few days, they'll be fine. You'll be okay. Um, you know, it's field herping. If I were to do, I wish I would have done everything in reverse and gone field herping before I kept, or at least I successfully, herped in the field before I kept. Um, because it opens up a whole new world. Um, why are things color? Why does it look the way that it looks? Why is it in one spot and not the other spot? Um, why do the toads on this side of the hill, why are they look different than the one on the other side of the hill? Um, you know, it's you can get deep in it and get lost in it, and that's awesome, because the alternative is to do hard drugs, and those are kind of fun. So, um, uh, Fowler's toad coloration and pattern will always beat black tar, 100%,
Yeah.
100%.
1,000%. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I really like with ringnecks and like the smaller stuff, like always seeing how many, but the the gang turf war between Tantilla and Striaria and Punctatus. It's like, it's just always cool to see, like, okay, well, what am I going to see this year more of than I did previous years? And like I said, it's the simple stuff, like the stuff that some people wouldn't bat an eye at, or they're like, whatever. I see those every other day. It's like rough green snakes to me. Like, immediately, if I have a rough green snake in my hand, like, I'm immediately taken back to when I was 7, and there's just something about that species that just,
yeah, man,
so much nostalgia in those for me that it's like I will never not stop and play with a rough green snake if I see one. Like, I smell them. I got to smell them. They have this very distinct smell. It takes me right back to being a kid. As weird as it sounds. It's just, and like, I found a really nice ringneck like 2 weekends ago, and I was like, this is awesome. Like, you see that yellow belly, and it's like, oh my God. Like, that was a species I just didn't really have an appreciation for until I actually came across a couple, because I really hadn't prior. It's only been the recent probably 2 or 3 years that I've actually seen them on a fairly regular basis here on the island. But like, it's just, that's another one. Like, I'll never stop or not stop and look at a ringneck, or if I flip one, like, pick it up. It's got to happen. It's just,
oh yeah,
it's so cool.
Yeah.
And it's the natural history of them too. It's like the fact that it's like, these are living in our backyard. They're crazy bright yellow, sometimes orange. Like, it's so cool. It's like, how do they live? How do they survive? Like, they're tiny. Like, what do they, and you got to research and you got to dig, because you get questions and you want answers. And, it's just, I don't know. I can't, it's hard to explain. It's hard to put into words.
Well, and then you get into the really, you deep dive into the resource partitioning, and that Storaria are eating earthworms, where your ringnecks are eating slugs, and they're all in the same area, but for some reason they will eat completely different things, so they don't, cancel each other out. And what was it? There was a paper, and I was curious as to, because I've I've tried to tried my hand at some of those, and well, I didn't. My friend in Alabama, because it's legal there. My friend in Alabama did, and just it's tough. And if you go on to, was it a Google Scholar, then Sci-Hub, so you can get over the paywall, you find out that how they're figuring out what they're eating, that they go through the poop and they're looking for the cetacea on the earthworms to see if they're eating those. And if they're eating slugs, they're finding the mouth. Just the only thing left of the slug is the little half moon shaped mouth scraper from the slug. That's the only thing left, and that's how I know. And it's that man. That's where I'm at now. I've gone. I'll sit there, dude. I'll sit in one spot for 20 minutes with a rough earth snake and just completely go, ballistic.
Geeking out.
Oh yeah. Well, like I said, and if you can't find stuff, I've started a bug pin board.
Nice.
If I can't find anything else when I'm flipping logs or whatever it is, you're going to find best beetles. You're going to find a number, probably some centipedes, some millipedes, weird beetles, whatever it is. So, and now I'm starting to go down that rabbit hole. Field herping is a beautiful, dangerous animal that it's definitely something that I would recommend anybody start your state list or start your county list. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. And when you find that life for that first species, I guarantee you will. I didn't want to know half the things I know about ringnecks now. I learned that for myself against my own will. I had no need to know that. But I know it now, and that's cool. It's it's definitely something special. So yeah, and shout out to Flippin' 10, um, uh, Jake and Sky. You know, solid show, and I'm glad it's getting some traction. Um,
Agreed.
and they're voicing something that we all, or I found a new reinvigorated passion for. Um, but yeah, dude, I started keeping before field herping, and now it's probably almost an every weekend thing. If nothing else, you know, I always got Mediterranean, the house geckos buzzing around my wall, so I
Right.
can at least go out there, and chill with them. So my field herping has gotten better, but now listening to Venom Exchange, or I know some of y'all are trying to do the Crotalis World Slam or World Series, like that's dangerous. Like, oh God,
Yeah. Yeah.
just opens up so many different doors, um, and it's a cool world we're in. Just it
Very.
starts with one snake, and then you find yourself taking all your PTO to be hot and sweaty in the swamp somewhere,
Yep.
getting by mosquitoes to find some obscure Nerodia that is only in one county in your state. And when you find it, man, it's
Yeah.
it's that. It is
It's
that.
that. It's that. It's crazy, man. Speaking of Nerodia, I caught a lot of water snakes in yesteryear, and they're always cool, but they never really did it for me. I like the idea that it's a live-bearing keeled snake that's highly aquatic and eats fish. Like, that's super cool. And they come in every color of the rainbow. And then you get some of the people on our network, as well as some of our friends, that are breeding them, and they're making these crazy looking animals. And then you find crazy looking animals with your friends. Shout out Jake and Sky. And I'm doing a Florida list too, and I've seen a lot of water snakes, man, but there's still like 6 different ones I have for Florida that I have never seen. And it's like, how did I not see them? Well, it's because they're just that hard to find, and that just fuels the quest. And then I find out tonight that there's a book that someone on this show has. Can we talk about the book for a second?
So, yeah, North American water snakes, Gibbons, Dorcas. This is put out by University of Oklahoma Press. It's dense. Like, there's
it looks like a great reference book.
Oh yeah, about 400 something pages. So it's not a weekend reader.
Yeah,
but I just got it in today, along with a bag of Fulvius apparel stuff.
Nice.
So then you got really neat picture doodads.
Oh yeah,
a couple in there. But it seems like there's
flame belly.
Hang on, let me just see if we can get
Does that was there glossy crayfish snakes in there too?
I believe so.
Have like the adjacent Nerodia stuff?
They have it broken down. You have water snake biology, taxonomy, systematics, which taxonomy is a lie. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Oh god. Dirty
field.
Sanchez.
Ooh, field and laboratory techniques for studying water snakes. What? Conservation of water snakes, species accounts. Glossy crayfish snake. Let's see. This was. I know it's recent. Pretty recent.
Yeah, it's got to be recent. It says copyright 2004, Oklahoma University or University of Oklahoma Norman Press.
Okay.
Older than I thought.
Yeah, well, it's a lot older than I thought, because I just heard or saw the. That's kind of neat. Got a couple range maps with some.
Oh yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just now getting into it, so yeah, that'd be cool. I got this from There's the herpetology book group on Facebook. I mean, this came from Tom Sinclair, so he might
Yeah.
have one or two other ones.
Yeah,
Mike
Tom's
Crick,
got the best books, man.
yep.
He
Mike
really does.
Crick usually has a lot of stuff for pretty good prices. But yeah, just kind of shop around. But I think I paid something like $60 ish for this one. Um, and I think when I Googled it, there's a few on eBay. Amazon has them listed for $4,700 or some ridiculous thing because maybe they're probably not in print anymore.
Yeah, I don't know why they do that, man.
I don't know. It's a weird thing they do.
Yeah, there's like 4 or 5 books on Amazon that I want that, like, if you go on Abe books or natural history books, they're expensive. They're maybe $150, $200, maybe even, more. But then you go on Amazon, it's like $999. Like, well, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, I think it's like independent seller kind of shit where just some doofus with Cheeto dust on his wiener is telling them, and yeah, don't buy that from that dude.
Yeah, but that's cool, man. I had no idea that book existed. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think I could burn through it pretty quick. It doesn't seem too now. There's some definite graphs, and we're not going to be doing the math and a lot of numbers. So that's stupid. Math is dumb. But it's pretty solid. Yeah, I've gotten I was talking to Smitty, I guess, off of here, and I'm now at the point where I'm doing the book stack on the floor because my bookshelves are full.
It's time, baby. Time to get a bigger bookshelf or just another one.
That's dangerous because then you end up with empty spots. You got to fill them hoes.
Yeah, I need to get another one. I just don't know where to freaking put it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I have I would say 80% of my book collection packed very neatly in gasket tubs with silica packs in there because I moved and I just don't have the space right now. So I find myself needing to reference something and I got to go through 5 or 6 giant bins worth. But it's worth it. It's worth it. And, and any of us who are into herp books, the Podfather Eric Burt turned me on to this app called Book Buddy, and it's free, but it basically lets you catalog books, and you can rate the book publicly. You can rate the book for yourself, like, oh, I like this one, or oh, I didn't like this one. You can see if you do like a wish list. If it's all for yourself, you can do wish list. You can do it's in my library. You can say, oh, I loaned this book to Smitty, whatever. And you can search for books by name or by the stocking number, and it goes to the internet and it can find you that book for sale.
Oh, wow.
It can show you different covers of that book. It, like I said, it's free, but I think it only gives you like 10 or 12 spots. And then I think I paid like $6 one-time fee to have like 500 spots, something to that extent. And it's awesome.
It keeps you from buying duplicates and triplicates of stuff you already have because at some point you forget what you have. And well,
I've also noticed that I've got 2 or 3 versions of the same book, and 2 of those times I didn't realize because it's different cover. The second printing, not second edition, second printing is a completely different cover. The first cover circa 1958, and then the second cover is 1967. It's the same exact book, just different cover. Well, now I've got 2 or 3 copies, and I still love it. I think it's great, but having the Book Buddy definitely would help alleviate that.
It has a whopping 1.6 star review on the Google Play Store.
That's because people don't read and they're stupid.
Yeah.
So don't pay attention to them.
I mean, here, I'll show you. I haven't opened it in a while, so it's going to update. Hang on. That's also the problem is you get books. Let's say you do a book order. You get 2 or 3 books, right? You're so excited and you're reading them and you're flipping through them. I forget to add it to the buddy. And then like 6 months goes by and I'm like, oh crap, did I add them? Did I not add them? So here I am using the camera on my phone, scanning the barcode of all these books. And it's like, up, it's already in there. Up, it's already in there. Up, it's already in there. And then I catalog them. So I've got like a list of Hurt books. I've got a list of nonfiction. I've got a list of fiction. I gotta go through and add God knows how many books. But so like I probably have 15 or 20 books that are not on here, but I'm well over 150 just Hurt books. And let me see if I can show the screen. So hold on a second. Let me position myself appropriately. And you can scroll. And I do it alphabetical. You can see some of them I rated them just to my own edification. And then if you click it, so Field Guide to Scorpions of Southern Africa by Dr. Ian Engelbrecht. And it gives you the publisher, the date, a summary of the book. You know, I chose the picture of the cover. You can choose the picture from the internet. You could take your own. It gives you all the publishing information. And like I said, it was like $6 for like 500 spots or something. So well worth it. Well worth it.
Oh yeah.
I think Hyper needs it just to keep track of everything he's got.
He doesn't need it. He is a mental trap. He knows exactly what he's got. Scott's problem is, and Scott, I know you're going to listen to this. So Scott's problem is he has an online store for all different stuff. Well, he ordered a bunch of books from several publishers to sell the books on his website. Well, naturally, one copy of each of those books he definitely kept for himself. So yeah, I think he said that in one day he got like 25 new books, something like that. But good for him, man. Good for him. Well, gentlemen, we're at the 2-hour mark. Is there anything else we wanted to touch base on?
I don't think so.
Good stuff, guys.
Buy more books.
Buy more books.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Oh, dude, that Field Guide to Scorpions in South Africa is $20 on Amazon.
Yeah, it took almost a year for it to get on American Amazon. So I think I paid $30 for it like the first month it came out on our Amazon. Oh no, I've got a hard copy. So.
Oh yeah, and I'm keeping Bugs too. I've started Bugs.
Yes. How's the Assassins?
Dude, those things are freaking insane.
They're awesome.
They're really cool.
Have you got hit by one yet?
I have.
And
you know, to summarize it, I didn't die. All the fingers and stuff are here.
These are the West African species, correct?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
These are the Platymerus bigotatus, the white-spotted assassins.
Yeah.
It was a feeding response bite, and that's significant because this is one of the few species of venomous animal that has different. It has a different venom for defense and a different venom for offense. It's one of the few that actually do that. So this was definitely a feeding response bite. I was using forceps that were way too short, and like I said it to myself, hey, these are really short. I'll be fine. And the internet will lie. They can fly, especially for short distances across tubs. But when they smell or sense, even the scent of prey on forceps, like they'll go for it. And that's what happened. Is I went in with tiny forceps, and one just happened to flutter on, landed and zapped me right on top of the finger. Felt white hot, like really, white heat, electricity, just, like it was the closest thing I can equate it to is a yellow jacket sting, like
Okay.
just really hot electricity.
Yeah.
Then, after, as time went on, after about an hour, it started, sending shocks kind of up my arm. And at that point, I'd only heard wives' tales about bites from assassins, and of course they're not good. It's it paralyzed someone's whole arm and they can't use their arm anymore, and
Yeah.
stuff that I can't corroborate at all. So, and I can't, the local hospital doesn't know anything about West African assassin bugs. So it's like, well, I did the only responsible thing is I went to the field and went herping, figured if this is it, whatever. But it, with every heartbeat, it would send like another shock. Every heartbeat was like electric shock up my
Really?
arm. Um, the heat of the bite went away, but it was just electricity, every pulse, and then the finger itself went numb at about hour 3, and then I was kind of worried. I was like, well, that's not good. And again, it's probably because it was a feeding response bite, not a defensive bite. So it used whatever the feeding venom was for paralytic or paralyzing prey. And then I did the other responsible thing and went to my local dive bar and had a shot and a beer. Was telling bartender buddy what was going on, and at hour 4, every symptom was gone.
Really?
Back to normal, and it was like exactly 4 hours. It was the only lasting effect was, I think, a bit of the proboscis, because for those who don't know, they stab with their mouth parts. Most of your assassins being the true bugs, they have stabbing mouth parts, and most of the assassin-ish bugs, or those that look like that, or they'll drink sap and plant fluids. But these, the true assassins, they stab shit with their mouth harpoon, and I think just the tip of it had broke off in my finger, because there was there's you see a little bit of it, and there was a tiny white circle around it, maybe a millimeter in diameter.
Yeah.
And
Just localized trauma.
it was numb just around that little area for a couple days, and then but that was it. So 4 hours.
Wow.
No, I will not be repeating that. I've learned that lesson. We use the long tongs and understand that they can fly, at least for short distances. But dude, they're freaking awesome. They breed like crazy. They're super hardy. The only thing with them is they can cannibalize, but I've only found that cannibalization happens with nymphs from birth, from hatching to probably the 3rd molt, is the only time they really cannibalize. Once they get after about the 3rd molt, they start to get, I guess, the adult exoskeleton comes in, and it's really hard. Like I've had to grab 1 or 2 with some forceps. They're dense, they're thick, so I think just the up until the 3rd molt, the babies are so soft. If they're lacking in food or aren't great at hunting, they'll start eating each other. Now, it generally takes a bit. Like, you have to get them pretty damn hungry before they'll start cannibalizing. But babies will, adults really don't. They do stridulate. They make some weird sounds. They will emit like a vinegar smell when they're pissed off.
Wow.
They're neat. I've tried to keep the king horrids, which have the Legion of Doom, big spiked football pads on the top of the head. But I haven't been as successful with those. The white spotteds, they're awesome. And I got 3 tarantulas and a couple of odds and ends. So not just snakes, bugs too. The
Way
assassin.
it should be.
What tarantulas?
One boami, isn't that the fire leg?
Yeah.
One Grammostola pulchripes, the Chaco gold knee, and Ceratogyrus marshalli, the Rhodesian horned or one-horned baboon.
Yes.
Which that one's cool as shit. There's a guy in Noonan that does a bunch of tarantulas. He's like my tarantula guy, and I'd never seen the Marshalli before, and he's like, "You want to see a unicorn?" Yeah, sure. And I wasn't expecting and it was a good sized spider with a freaking horn growing out of it, and it's like, well, I kind of want one of those. So those are definitely pretty cool. I'm digging those. Um, the poker peas is pretty chill. The Bohemi, man, that thing, it kept a bald ass for probably the first couple months. It stressed pretty bad whenever I'd go to feed it or something. It would instantly start flicking.
Yeah.
Now it's chilled out significantly from what it was, and now that it's finally chilled out, I have to rehouse it and stress it the fuck out again. So
Yeah.
that's gonna be good. But do tarantulas or just bugs are dangerous because you can keep a lot of them,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's now like the assassins I have in a tote, like a 40, I don't know, a 40-liter quart tote or whatever the hell it is. So they got some room, um, and they're pretty simple. The tarantulas are, um, they still give me the heebie-jeebies come rehoming time. If you get the odd one that shoots across your hand or up a curtain, it's like
Yeah.
kind of
Oh yeah.
kind of know. Um, but they're cool.
How,
Just super.
how is how is the horn baboon temperament?
Um, it's not terrible. I mean, I really don't see it much. It's essentially just a hole.
Yeah.
I got it set up in a really big. I think it's made for noodles, like spaghetti noodles, like a big mason jar, um, and that thing just goes straight to the bottom, and it
Oh, yeah.
makes a really cool little deal. Um, but it hasn't. I haven't got a defensive display out of it. I'm not trying to make it do it.
Yeah.
Um, on occasion, it'll kind of hang out at the top, chill out, um, but it's not bad.
Nice.
Uh, Now it's going to be when I have to rip the roof off of his house and grab him up by the cankle. But um, that's going to be a new experience for me. I haven't had to rehouse that one yet. That's going to be something. I'm not looking forward to that.
It'll be
It's
fine.
it's one of those scenarios where you just take the lid off the mason jar and just leave it in the new enclosure. Just let it come out on its own.
Yeah, in the bathtub. Um, yeah, it's a newfound appreciation for doing bugs. So they're cool as shit, though. I mean,
Yeah.
if you can go to a show, if you don't see anything you like, I mean, what the hell? Grab you a spider. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Right. Any scorpions in the horizon?
Oh, absolutely. I'm new to it. Um, I've kept the basic basic stuff. Kept the emperors, red claws. Man, I really wish flat rocks. I don't know the Latin
Yeah.
for it. So I'm gonna be a
Heterogeneous.
dude. Those were awesome, and they were cheap, and they were
Yeah.
freaking everywhere.
Yep.
Now, shit,
Good luck.
That's it.
they just look too freaking cool.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
they're one of the only truly sexually dimorphic scorpions with the naked eye. You can just look at them and go, "That's a boy, that's a girl, that's a boy, that's a girl," and no one captive bred them. No one, and they just disappeared.
well, and a lot of that is what's kind of driving what I'm keeping or trying to keep now.
Yeah,
Um, you know, the Andeans, that was one. Like I've never known anyone do those. That was why that. Same thing with the Splendida. Um, Shout out to Fulvius Apparel for the cool shirt.
one of the
Um,
coolest shirts he's ever produced.
Dude, the
I
blue
love
is
that.
freaking look.
Yeah.
It's a damn good looking shirt.
It's a damn good looking shirt.
Like the Splendida, no one really messes with them.
Yeah.
So anyone that's wants to do something or is interested in Go around the show, wherever they have listed on the scummy flipper table for $50. Get into those. Grab you a couple of that shit while it's cheap and while it's available. Um, so scorpion wise, I know I'm going to try to do. I don't know what my local bark scorpions are, but I find them all the time when I'm out field herping.
Yeah.
And of course, it's the only time I don't have a deli cup or some shit with me. Um, I'll try those.
Is it the Carolina, the Behovis?
Vehovis, that's what
Yeah.
it is. Yep, this is Vehovis.
If you catch some, you let me know because I need a new group.
I'll holler at you. The Vehovis, I'm going to definitely try those. And I haven't really started doing the research, and I'm afraid to fall down the rabbit hole, which is probably now going to happen after I hang up.
Yeah.
But I also don't have any cool scorpion books, so
There's not that many books out there.
There's not, man. And
see,
Really?
I'm
that's
trying.
why.
There's one I really want. Scott actually has it on his website, but it's very expensive because it's coming from Australia. But the problem is that the book was written in France in both French and English. It's called Scorpions of the World, and that's like a fantastic book. But every copy that I find in the U.S. is the French copy, or it doesn't say. And I don't want to spend, $150 on a book only to not be able to read it. So
Yeah, I don't know. Scorpions are definitely on the horizon. I'm trying to keep everything at the room temp deal, which is why the tarantulas are freaking cool.
yeah,
Again, I just got the tarantulas like I don't know a year and a half ago maybe. So never having worked at I worked at a wholesaler and with off and on, so I never kept anything more than a couple weeks. It was there, feed it a couple times, box it back up, send it out. Um, so I'm definitely virgin for scorpions. Um, Probably be easier to like I said, start with the Vehovis or something local that
yeah,
really don't have to worry too much about. Um,
or even
Scorpions are definitely
Desert Harry, man. Good Desert Harry.
Spadex.
It's bad X. It's
Ugh,
dude. They're
Spadex.
impressive. They're good size. It's not gonna kill you, and you can keep it at room temp. Not worry. You can get them at most pet shops.
yeah, it's Gracilis, yeah.
Communal tank of Gracilis.
I do like I like OBTs. I mean, now we're back on tarantulas, but I always liked them. Real pretty. I know they're supposed to be pissed off. I think a lot of that has to do with how folks keep them.
Damage.
Oh yeah. Well, I think a lot of it has to do with folks that keep them or how they keep them. Is the normal people want to see their pets all the time. So you keep something that's supposed to be in a hole, 2 feet down, and he has a quarter inch of substrate. He's probably going to be pissed all the time.
All the time.
But yeah, I'll slowly be expanding steadily. But man, inverts are dangerous because they don't take up much room.
You're gonna need you need 2 new bookshelves, one for books and one for bugs.
Santa's gonna bring me a baker's rack soon.
Nice.
So that's gonna get moved in.
Good
for
stuff,
sure.
man. Good stuff. Well, Mr. Sanchez, it's a pleasure as always. I love chatting with you. Smitty loves chatting with you. Where can people get a hold of you should they want to pick your brain and or beard?
Let's see. Join my OnlyFans. So holler at your boy, $20. I'm on Instagram, Project Reptilia. Facebook is just me, Chris Sanchez. TikTok, that's Project Reptilia as well. And I think that about covers it.
Rock and roll, man.
So
Well, thank
so
you.
no worries. The honor's all mine. Going from being listening to y'all and having y'all, you guys in my ear for the past like 2 years, to being in the box, dude. It's freaking cool. Like I definitely called a few people and like, I'm gonna be on the show. So it's awesome.
Well, we love
100%.
you, brother, and we appreciate you coming on, man, for real.
Appreciate y'all.
This episode, as always, is brought to you by blackboxcages.com. Check them out. Shop around. Go give them a follow on Facebook and Instagram. Go to checkout after you've scoured the site, found a rack or a cage or both that you like. Use the code THN24, get a little bit of a discount. Double up on the savings. Choose the pickup option if you're in the general Southeast region or within a reasonable driving distance to North Georgia, and pick them up straight from the source. Don't have to worry about shipping and whatever games they play with the boxes when they're in transit. Even if they did, though, if you do get shipping, we can vouch that that is some of the best shipping you will have, like in terms of packaging and stuff for shipment. Some of the best in the industry, if not the best, bar none. So
hands down,
check them out. And then Full Visa Apparel Black Friday sale month is happening now until the 30th. I just realized that the buy one get one 50% off discount was not active for some reason, so I kept wondering why I was getting some orders and it wasn't automatically discounting it. That is fixed, so automatically at checkout, no code necessary. Buy two get one free. Buy one get one half off. Get your Christmas shopping done early. Buy for yourself, and then hop on over to coldbloodedcaffeine.com. Get some coffee. Get some other accoutrement for that coffee, and enjoy it. Use the code SMOKE. Get 10% off. Get you some Snakes and Stogies blend, Mexican Rwandan goodness, all together in one bag. I think Flippington is happening later this week.
Yes.
I need to confirm. I think they had planned to do it last week, and then something came up, so they had to punt. So stay tuned for that. Other than that, it's business as usual, and we will see everybody later.
Bye.